as well. And we can go ahead and get started. I'm going to pass it off to John first, who's going to do our stakeholder introduction and another announcement today as well.
All right, good morning. I hope everyone's seeing my screen now.
Yep, we do.
Connections that'll lead to collaborations, get some ideas from your hobbies maybe, spotlight someone for 30 to 45 seconds, and just to have a little bit of fun. So we asked this person, as we always do, what do you like to do to relax or unwind? And they like to walk their dog, Evie. Well, Evie will be found in good company because I have 3 standard poodles, my wife and I. And I know others on staff have poodles as well, even Lauri. So it was funny to see Evie this morning. Interesting facts. She worked in a bookstore as a teenager. Oh, also, all of these graphics are AI if you haven't figured that out. Something others may not know, she once worked as a 911 dispatcher. And she's been in EMS healthcare and data for more than 22 years. And asked what does she like most about her job? She likes finding the answer. I'm the same way. I love finding the answer to a good riddle. Any guesses? Welcome Miss Vicki Lange, records manager from South Whidbey Fire and EMS. And it appears she has more than just the one poodle, Evie. I love the picture of the gray on the side. That is probably my favorite picture of the group. But thank you for joining us and welcome. Thank you for letting us introduce you and take 30 seconds to spotlight you. If you have not been introduced, you can scan this nifty QR code and do it right on your phone, including uploading the pictures. Or, as always, I will put the link in the chat so that you can do it on a regular computer as well. I just love this picture, so I show it quite often. This was taken after. The thing I wanted to talk about was just, for those of you who are paying attention, I am, it's already running. I'm restarting my series of dashboard reviews. Last week I did the warehouse, which I consider one of the top 2 most important dashboards. This week I'm doing the second of the top 2 most important dashboards. To get right where I am here, you would go to View Reports and then State Reports. And then click on the version 3 dashboards. And we're going to go all the way down to the bottom where it says V3 State Submissions. This is for state data managers because you have to have a state login to see this, but this is probably the most important next to the warehouse. So where you are right now is the email summary. If you are not getting something that looks like this every week in your email, reach out because you need to go to the bottom and subscribe to it so that you will get this in your email so that you will know how your state is doing every week. Just create a help desk ticket and I'll respond to it and help you do it. This subpage is the submission detail. What I'm showing at the bottom is for your state, this will show all of the files that were submitted that had errors of any kind. The most common error is a missing DIM file. And you'll see that here there are several missing DIM files. But it could be an XML validation or another error. But notice that this report is always clipped a little bit on the right side. So I'll show you how to go to the bottom and then slide it over so you can see the true total. You can from here you can download the failures by going to the bottom, clicking the download button, and clicking cross tab. The next, it'll actually be, do you want CSV or Excel, but I didn't go through all of those steps. From there, typically most people go to the EMS agency detail tab because then you can see those that failed, the records that failed for DIM files will then be listed. So at the bottom, and you can run a report on that. So I apologize for Alaska and Arizona, but just so everyone knows, this data is from 2023, so it's well out of date. So they do not have any missing DIM files at this point. But on this date in 2020 something, these were the agencies that submitted that we did not have DIM files for. So they sent us files, but we don't know who they were, so we couldn't do anything with them. So that tells you who you'll need to know just for your state only when you run the report. You need to reach out to get a DIM file completed. And you can also download that as well by going to the bottom and clicking the same download file. These are the submission summaries. What this will tell you what were processed by day, week, how many errors versus non-errors, and submissions by day. And this is the general accepted PCR detail. It tells you how many errors there were per average per. Went a little bit faster than I meant. Hold on. So you'll see average errors per day per time. You'll just see your state, so you'll see what areas of your county have got the best and worst error percentage, and you can even do it by vendor if you wanted to. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is the new. You may have noticed that this week we changed the weekly state submission or the state resource update email. We shifted over to our MailChimp platform as opposed to the Google group. So if for some reason you didn't get it this week, that means you may not be in our MailChimp group, which means you'll need to ask to be added to that. You can do that just by submitting a help desk ticket as well. But your email should have looked just like this. This is literally a copy of my inbox. So from the inbox, if you have previews enabled, you can click on the current V3 map and it'll take you to the map itself. Or you can right here or there. Or you can look at the PDF that gives you more information. But if you click on click where it says click here to download, it will actually download a PDF, which should look very similar to what you're looking for or what you have been seeing with the details for this week's updates and who updated what with live URL. So this the Florida State Dataset XML is a live URL, and you can click on it if you're a vendor or interested to see, and it'll take you just like the previous emails used to do, directly to that update. And that's it. That's all I have for you. If you have any questions, please reach out. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a great day, and back to you, Lauri.
Sounds good. Thanks, John. We do have one question about the dashboard.
Okay.
On my video here. So will corrections show up in the next week, or do you have to wait for corrected issues to fall off?
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Because the report period is for 2 weeks. So if you change something in the second week of a report period, it's going to show up on the next period as the first week of the next period. But so when you make a change, always wait 2 weeks before you expect to see it, just to be sure.
Sounds good. Thanks, John. All right, I'm going to share my screen now. Is everyone seeing our website?
Yes.
My first announcement is that we are very pleased to present that we have released the 2024 public data set. And I wanted to say a huge thank you, first of all, to all the states and vendors in the room that made that possible, that worked hard to submit timely and accurate records last year. We thank you for correcting failed records and everything you did to make sure that data set is as complete and accurate as possible. And there's a couple ways to find it on our website. So if you see the banner scrolling across the top, if you click on the very first button here and click on the banner, that can take you there. Also on the tab on the top, if you click on using EMS data and then request research data, that'll take you to a page that explains what is included in the data set. There's a public training on it as well. a press release that gives you some more information, or if you want to share or forward that with anyone that you think may be interested, feel free to do that. And then how you actually request the data set is this button right here. So the help desk ticket, and there's a section there that says request research data set. Here I can go to it there. So if you go to the help desk, which really can be found on the bottom of any page of our website, the very first button says request a research data set. And then there'll be some questions you need to answer, and then we can share that with you. So again, thank you so much. We're really excited. We collected over 60 million records, our largest data set ever, from over 14,000 agencies, 54 states, territories, District of Columbia, and some tribal nations included there as well. I will also put the link to that in the chat in just a moment, which might make it easier for you to grab it if you're interested. And then the next topic I have as well, and this is also related to our website, so I'm going to keep this open. And that is that we had a request. We had temporarily removed the search feature here in our state custom element library, and got permission recently to restore that. It's currently restored from this link, and again, I will share that in the chat in just a moment, and available in our Git. We're working on getting it reposted to our website as well. When you are on our website, where it will live is under technical resources, custom element library. If you click that currently, there's information about the national custom element library and custom element list. Just below this on the bottom of the page is where we will reinstate that search feature, where you can search by name if there's a topic and you want to know which states may have a custom element related to that topic. There's also some common ones listed across the top here. So for example, if you click on stroke, you can see which states have custom elements related to that topic, and see if any state has something maybe similar to what you're looking for that you could model yours after. So be looking for that soon, and I will put the link to the wiki today so you can actually access and use that even before it's posted. And the next topic, do we have any questions there? Looks like not yet. Next topic is our version and critical patch guidance. I know a few questions came up on the last V3 call, really in the breakout rooms, and we discussed this at the DMC meeting last month as well, kind of as a follow-up to that, but wanted to touch on it briefly again today and see if there's any questions from vendors or states or anyone in the room, just kind of on this rollout and timeline and how it'll work. So I will read through this. April 7th was when the critical patch was released from the NEMSIS TAC for both version 3.5.0 or critical patch 5 and 3.5.1 or critical patch 1. And vendors were given 90 days to implement and test. And I think that 90-day window may have caused some confusion. Some states thought that they could set a date of when the implementation would take place right at that 90 days. But just because a vendor has done critical patch testing or compliance testing with us does not necessarily mean they're ready to roll it out in your state. So some vendors are setting up timelines for when they will roll out those patches and new releases kind of in phases. And so we do encourage you to connect with your vendor in your state and find out their planned timeline. So April 7th, the NEMSIS TAC is able to accept 3.5.0 critical patch records. So we are doing that currently. And then July 10th is the end of that 90-day window, again, that we've given vendors time to test with us, but does not necessarily mean they are ready yet. And then when is the NEMSIS TAC able to accept 3.5.1 data? That is a question we've gotten a lot as well. And that answer is September 30th. So we'd encourage, if you're very anxious to start collecting those records, to hold them at the state level until September 30th. And then at that point, you can send them up to the national level. And my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Ben or Josh, is that those records will fail if they're sent before September 30th to the national level. And then October 1st is another deadline for us when we will release resources to be available to both states and vendors. And this is critical patch 6 and 2. And so that's the only change there, is that it's going to change to a one-to-one recurrence. And so at that point, you'll be required to submit records that have for ePatient 25 that have a real value or a not value or a pertinent negative value for ePatient 25. And they will fail at that point. Well, actually, they'll fail on November 4th. And so there'll be, again, kind of a month window when we'll release new resources, new data dictionaries that include that change in recurrence. And then November 4th is the next deadline of when they would need to be submitted in that format with a one-to-one recurrence. Any questions on that? I'll take a moment for people to type if you have a question. There's another timeline here that just shows that in a little different visualization. And so we are now up to almost the beginning of July, so almost to the end of that 90-day vendor implementation period. I'll go back to this slide for a moment too. All right, I don't see anyone typing, so if there are questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A, or you can always email us or submit a help desk ticket with questions as well. But if there are no questions, I'm going to pass it back to Monet, who's going to make a quick announcement about the annual meeting.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. All right, so I want to basically just offer a thanks. We really appreciate everyone who has registered for the meeting thus far. And I want to offer a gentle reminder that the attendance at the annual meeting is a compliance requirement based on the NEMSIS compliance software vendors represented on the website. There's still about 16 companies that need to register for the annual meeting to maintain their compliance. So I'm hoping that you can use the next few weeks or today and go ahead and get your arrangements, get your registration taken care of and your arrangements so that you can attend the meeting. Also, I want to remind you that the NEMSIS meeting is held at the Sheraton Hotel. We have a group block rate. We are required to have a certain number of rooms filled for that block rate. And those rates are available until Friday, July 25th. So if you can make your arrangements at the Sheraton, we would greatly appreciate your assistance with that as well. I want to just mention again that all sessions, I'm going to go ahead and click on this site for the registration. And just to let you know that we have an option, in person is going to be your best experience. All sessions, Tuesday through Friday, is the best value for the meeting. You'll have several networking opportunities and all the activities, except meals. Well, sorry, my apologies. All meals with the exception of dinner are included. And then regarding the activities, give me one second. We have several activities that are taking place. Actually, on Monday when you arrive, we'll have a welcome event at the hotel on the patio. On Tuesday, we're going to have a networking event at the hotel in the atrium pool. And then on Wednesday, we have been invited to participate or have fun at the Utah Mountain Resort. And so that's what this flyer is showing you here. The activities are optional, and the fees for this particular event are included in your registration costs. I would like to get a count of people who are interested in participating in this event. And so I'll have a form available for you to complete, and I'll add that to the chat. There are two activities. There's a scenic ride and a double play, which has a slide and a coaster. There's a message on the site about being in good physical health, and you can read more about that when I add that to the chat. This document will not be placed on the website. I've decided to send it out to all registrants and just to get some confirmation if they'll participate or not. I will need a final count by the end of July. And so I'm asking for you to look at this information and consider if you would like to join us for this particular event. And pretty much that's all I have at the moment. Are there any questions? Okay, if there are no questions at this time, let me just double check. Okay. If there are no questions at this time and you have a question that comes up later, anything related to the annual meeting, please go ahead and submit a help desk ticket and I'll respond at my earliest availability. And then the last thing that I'll mention is Bengie will have an announcement about the NEMMY Awards, and so I'm going to turn some time over to her. Thank you. Have a blessed day, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Monet. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Just a friendly reminder that the last date to vote is this Friday, June 27th for the NEMMY Award nominations this year. If you're not familiar, the NEMSIS Technical Assistance Center has a tradition of awarding a few state data managers with a NEMMY Award at our annual meeting. The purpose of the award is to honor state data managers who have gone above and beyond to help others and who are striving for excellence in their role, or have used EMS data in an exemplary way to improve patient care or save lives. This year, we would like to get recommendations from other state data managers who may want to nominate their peers, and each state data manager may make up to 3 recommendations. So please try your best to do so by this Friday, June 27th, so we can have a good list of people to choose from this year. And we did send out in a previous email communication the list of recipients from previous years. If you would like to have that information again before you nominate, please open up a help desk ticket and we'll assist you. Thank you, everyone. If there aren't any questions, I will turn it over to Lauri. Okay, and the link is in the chat to vote for the NEMMY Award nominations.
Great, thank you, Bengie. And I think I'm sharing the agenda again. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Great. So just one announcement about a public training we have coming up next Tuesday, and the topic is an EMS agency level focus on the value of NEMSIS. And so Casey Gregor is going to be presenting that, and would encourage you to send that information out to agencies in your state who may be interested in learning about the value of NEMSIS from the agency level, and also the importance of good data collection is what we'll talk about there. And then the dates of our upcoming V3 meetings next brings us to open forum. If anyone has any questions they'd like to put in the Q&A section on the bottom. Again, the chat feature is not open to everyone right now, but the Q&A section is. So on your bottom bar, you should see a Q&A. If you have a question, you can type it there. And we can bring you off mute if you'd rather discuss it. All right, if not, we will move to our breakout rooms today. And I have a list here of the rooms that are available and the hosts that will be in each room. So in just a minute, you should be able to have a screen that pops up and you can select which room you'd like to go to today. And if not, thank you for joining us. And again, this will be recorded and posted on our website if you wish to review or share the information later.
Lauri, we got one question in the chat, or in the Q&A, excuse me.
Yep, I see that the question looks like, where do I find the test cases for critical patch 5? And I believe Amanda is typing an answer. We should see that type pop up in just a moment. Great question. And I know we have Amanda, if you want to unmute, do you want to let us know how many vendors have gone through compliance testing already? I know she's been pretty busy working on that with several vendors, and several have completed it already and several are in the works right now.
Of course, give me just a second. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, sorry, I asked you a question while you were typing.
No, you're all good. So we've had 17 out of 40 vendors complete the compliance testing.
Great, great. That's great to hear. Thank you. So almost halfway completed, and I know there's several that are working on it this week and next. So we hope that everyone will meet that deadline. Another question: where do we find registration information for the July 1st training? And Chris, I believe that will just be emailed out. Is that correct?
Correct.
So you watching your email, there should be a flyer sent out along with a Zoom link to join. So you don't need to register ahead of time necessarily, but just join that link on that day and time. Good question. Any other questions there? And if not, if you need to drop off, thank you for coming. Appreciate your time today.